Today I've got a hodgepodge of topics. Someone asked me about the measurements of the back door with the seat up, to get a dog kennel in there. It doesn't really work with the seat up. It shortens it down to like 17 inches between the seat being folded up and the door, so you can't really get much in there. And then the floor is all bumpy. So I would say put the seat, the back of the seat down, and then you've got a flat surface. Okay, so with the seat down, still, you'd probably go a little higher, so you have 23 inches between the door here above the part that sticks out and the back seal. So 23 inches wide. You got about 23 inches tall as well to get in. So 23 by 23. And then once you're inside, the other option you have, and I wouldn't do this, but some people might want to, is you disconnect the thing that holds the door from swinging, and you could swing it even more forward. But you run the risk of pulling out the wires that go in between, maybe bending one of your hinges. So I wouldn't do that. This isn't a Jeep where the doors come off easily. So I think you're kind of limited here. Now, a lot of the kennels that I've seen are 2 halves. So if you took all the screws off and put the bottom half in kind of like sideways and tucked it in there and put it in, and then you have from the seat to the roof, you have 29 inches. Right here on the seat, you've got like this little metal bump. So it goes down a little bit, but you got this, the frame of this headrest coming down. So actually, let's see, if you take this headrest out. Okay, so with the headrest out, that's not there anymore. So the one bump you have with the headrest forward, so you have 29.5 inches from the highest point on the seat to the roof. And honestly, it'll squish down a little bit. So if you put weight, you have 30 inches. So 30 inches from this to the ceiling inside the truck. And then from, really, you can move your seat as far forward as you want. So this seat's pretty far forward. You have 38 inches with it right there from the back of this seat to the back wall. And then the driver's seat is set for me at 6'3", and I'll give you an idea of that as well. So that's 30 inches from the back of the seat to the back wall there. So really you have 30 inches of height, 30 inches from the back of a seat set for 6'3" to the back, almost 40 inches from the back of a seat that's pretty far forward back. And then again, your limiting factor is getting it in here. You got 23 inches wide, 23 inches tall. Honestly, if I was taking my dogs, I have a golden retriever, a beagle, and an Australian shepherd. I would just put their kennels in the back and let them be back here. Obviously, if it's freezing cold, you're not going to do that. I mean, you guys know they make those things that kind of attach to your headrests, and then they're like a big hammock, and they come back and attach to something in the back. Sometimes you use these anchors, or you could have the seat up and you attach it to these headrests. So there's a lot of options. I don't know how well a kennel would fit back here for a bigger dog. But there you go. Those are the measurements. Hopefully that helps. I also got under it and took care of the rust on the drive shafts from the transfer case back. So basically just the 2 half shafts and then through the carrier bearing. I started by sanding it all and realized that is way too much work. I read the cans. The cans basically say just spray it on the surface rust. It was coming off pretty easy, so it was not like deep seated into the metal. So I ended up, after I did about 45 minutes of sanding, just said forget it, and I just started painting it, and it turned out really good. So that'll be in here as well. This is what I have. I also have some sandpaper I can grab if I need it, but there we go. Truck is up on ramps. Front wheels are chalked, so let's get under it, and I will show you how bad it actually is. So the U-joint is completely rusted. It's cast iron, but still, I don't want that much rust just getting worse and worse. So I am going to spend the better part of the morning getting that all cleaned up. This is more work than I thought. This thing right here says, instantly converts rust to a protected paintable surface. It's called Rust Reformer. Instantly bonds with rust and transforms it to a non-rusting flat black paintable surface and prevents future rust. It saves you the effort of sanding rust all the way down to bare metal. I should have read this before I started. I hate the idea of not doing this all the way, but it's also a complete pain. And I do still believe all the commenters who said it's not necessary. I'm just doing it for my own peace of mind. I think it came out a whole lot better than it was when I got it. There we go. The auto start stop I installed 2 days ago. I'm absolutely loving it. It doesn't get confused when you change modes and things like that. It knows when it starts in normal, if you had it disabled before, it will be disabled when you start it again. So every time I start the truck in normal, it's disabled. And then halfway down the road, I remember to put it into sport mode or put it into the Raptor mode or whatever I have it set to. And then when I shut it off in that higher, different mode that I changed it to, it doesn't forget that when it starts in normal, it's going to be off again. So kudos, no glitches. It's only been 2 days, but I've started and stopped probably 10 times in the last 2 days because I've been taking my kids all over the place and running errands. And then there was something else. The last thing I wanted to mention was the engine oil that I had sent off to Blackstone. So I changed the oil at 1,300 miles to switch from the synthetic blend to full synthetic. When I did that, I took a sample, sent it off for analysis. The report came back a couple days ago. Basically, they said, you're good to go. There's no fuel, no coolant in the oil, which is good. I've had that happen on a new car in the past when I had my Focus RS that had a bad head gasket from the factory. And then they said your copper levels and your silicone-based particles levels are high in the oil, but that's to be expected on an engine break-in because some of the components are wearing in the way they should be. And they said throughout a couple more oil changes, those numbers will come down to the standard. So it's all good. I'm going to put that up here as well so you can see it. But basically, that's it. Thanks so much.
It's over!